Alrighty, shalom family. This is Morey Medad Yahoo, and this is the mini lessons on the ancient calendar. We're going to be talking about common mistakes. And today we will address one common mistake. So we're going to be this calendar references the Dead Sea Scrolls, Enoch Jubilee, and we call it the ancient calendar. At least that's what I call it. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to say that you need to do for step one, watch video series studying the calendar on the Path to Yahuwah YouTube page. That is your first step. If you haven't done that, then you need to stop this video and go back and watch that series so that you can have a foundation in calendar. This right here, we'll just talk about it's going to be many lessons and very short. So it's not going to give you the foundation. I'm just going to be addressing issues and helping you to navigate. Okay, so first let's talk about the Gregorian calendar. The Gregorian calendar is a calendar used in most of the world. It's named after Pope Gregory VIII, who introduced it in October 1582. The calendar spaces leap years to make the average day 365.2425 days long, approximating the 365.2422 days tropical years that it determines by the Earth rotation around the sun. Now, here are just a few common things about the Gregorian calendar. It has leap years. Okay, the leap year is when there is 366 days. Okay, and the next leap year just so happens to be in 2020. A regular year is composed of 365 days. The year begins in the winter, which on that calendar is January. The pattern of days is 30 and 31, with February having 28 days. During the leap year, February has 29 days. Okay, the change from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, the Julian calendar was first introduced in 1580, the Gregorian calendar was first introduced in 1582, but it took almost 300 years for all the different countries to change from the Julian calendar. So in September 1752, in North America, was exceptionally short, skipping the 11 days from the 3rd to the 13th. So just trying to give you the Gregorian calendar. So it's not as new as you may suppose. Okay, now the ancient calendar. It's 364 days every year in that calendar, all days on the same day of the week every year. So the feast days fall on the same days. It's a fixed calendar. The feast days do not fall on Shabbats. No conflict in design. The pattern each quarter is 30 days, 30 days, 31 days. It's an intercalary or change of season calculation. Or change of season. Most important factor in the ancient calendar that most of you probably have not considered: 7-day Shabbat cycle. So if you take the 364 divided by 7, you get 52 weeks. Jubilees are based on 7. 7 is an important factor. 7 is an important factor in the Father's calendar. In the feast days, you have the Shabbat counts. Everything reckons back to that 7-day count. So that's why the 7 days is so important in this calendar. So major factor, and I'm just going to read from Jubilee just a little bit. The major factor: 364 days, 52 weeks, 7-day cycles. Jubilees 30:6:30, and all the days of the commandment will be 52 weeks of days, and these will make an entire year complete. Thus it is engraved or ordained on the heavenly tablets, and there is no neglecting this command for a single year or from year to year. And command you, the children of Israel, that they observe the year according to this reckoning, 364 days, and these will constitute a complete year. And they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feasts, for everything will fall out in them according to it should be their testimony, and they will not leave out their days nor disturb their feasts. So in other words, feast days don't fall on Shabbats. But I've seen in the modern day Gregorian, where people are using the moon and various other techniques, where feast days there's a conflict, and they'll move the feast day so it doesn't fall on the Shabbat, make adjustments. They'll add 13th months and all this stuff, but you don't have to do this with the Father's ancient calendar. Major factor, okay, we did that part. Then finally, Jubilee 6:36, for there will be those who will assuredly make observation of the moon, how it deserves the season, comes in from year to year, 10 days too soon. A moon cycle is 354 days. So every year you're losing 10 days. So when they get to that third losing 10 days, that's 30 days. That's why they add a month to reset it. Okay, so let's just talk about the floating Shabbat. And this will be the last slide. Okay, in the ancient calendar, we've talked, it's a fixed calendar, no floating Shabbat. The equinox is always the marker, the fourth day, and we'll explain that here in a second. The fourth day and the start of the calendar is consistent every year. After 364 days, then you look for the sign which happens with the luminaries, the sun, moon, and stars lining up. Remember, the luminaries were given assignment on the fourth day. That's Genesis 1, verse 16 through 19. So we got two calendars. So evening is the fourth day of the creation cycle Shabbat count. So when they line up, that evening is the fourth day. Once we see all the signs from the sun, moon, and stars, that's the fourth day, because everything lines up on the fourth day. And the evening is also the first day of the 364-day calendar. Okay, so now when you look at the Gregorian calendar, depending on whether it's a leap year, so because there's a day difference from the Father's fixed calendar to this Gregorian calendar that can fluctuate with the leap years, Shabbat usually shifts one day but remains fixed on the ancient calendar. Now, if it's a leap year where it's 366 days, the Shabbat shifts 2 days but remains fixed on the ancient calendar, because on the ancient calendar, the Enoch, Jubilee, Dead Sea Scroll calendar, we're looking for the same signs every year. And we started, the fourth day is the same. The first day of the feast day calendar, which is 364 days, is the same. So all the feast days are going to fall on the same days, because we are starting this calendar the same time by the same signs every year. But remember, the Gregorian calendar starts when? It starts in January during winter. And the Gregorian calendar can has an extra day added into it. So when the feast count of Shabbat comes around, whatever it is on the Father's fixed calendar, when you bring the Gregorian calendar into play, it's going to shift on the Gregorian calendar, which was created in 1582, mind you. Now you have a shift of one day. But on the Father's calendar, because we use the same signs and started the same way every year, it remains constant year after year. Shabbat falls on the same day on the Father's calendar, on the seventh day. And the beginning of the year falls on the same day. You know, when we started, all the feast days are going to line up the same every year. But it's going to shift on the Gregorian calendar because the Gregorian calendar has more days. So I hope this clears up just about the floating Shabbat and the common mistake we make there. Have any questions, you can shoot me a message, since this is only posted on the My Living Branch website. All right, shalom, shalom, family.